The bond between pets and their owners is a special one. Pets become an integral part of their lives and often feel like family members. However, sometimes pets can go missing and be separated from their owners for years. It's a heartbreaking experience for both the pet and the owner. But in some cases, the unthinkable happens, and the pets are reunited with their owners after years. In this video, we will share some heartwarming stories of animals reunited with their owners after years, and you are definitely going to want to hug your pets after watching. Number 1. Kiara the lioness. After a long parting, Kiara is reunited with the man who saved and raised her while she was a cub. Adolfo was a highly regarded lion tamer who spent much of his time helping wild animals. It was during one of his trips to Mexico that he met an adorable lion cub, which he later named Kiara. Abandoned, alone, and scared, Kiara quickly bonds with Adolfo during the days they spent together at his camp, and he ends up taking her to his own wildlife sanctuary. When Kiara grew up to a certain stage in the sanctuary, she was taken to a larger facility, separated from her helper. Years would pass before their reunion, but Kiara still remembered the kindness Adolfo showed her as a cub. Number 2. Dog. The faithfulness of dogs is always top-notch, and this attribute is never wanted in each dog. After more than 8 months of serving overseas, a military man shared a heartfelt moment with their black Labrador as they reunited. As soon as the door opened, Max, a black Labrador, began leaping with joy, bouncing on the spot before jumping over Dennis Flynn Jr., who was sitting on the floor in his military attire. Dennis is a Sergeant First Class with the Army National Guard, and for more than half a year he had been stationed in Kuwait and Saudi Arabia. He left home in October 9, 2021, and knowing how close Max is to his owner, the Flynn family decided to plan a big surprise for their pooch on July 14, 2022. Number 3. Sultan. Sultan is a military dog that eventually had to spend the rest of his life with a Marine officer. The Marine officer met Sultan while on duty, and they ended up spending every second of their time together, leading to a great bond between them. When the Marine officer retired, she never stopped thinking about Sultan. Luckily for her, 3 years later, she heard a call that Sultan was being retired, so she adopted him. Watch as the two meet for the first time in years. Number 4. Elephants. These elephants reunite with their caretaker 14 months after their separation. Derek Thompson was a Toronto firefighter when he left his career to devote his life to caring for elephants. In the sanctuary he founded with his wife, Lake, he could be seen in shallow water, calling on the elephants in a unique voice that the animals recognize. Number 5. The Limbani chimpanzee. Limbani was initially rejected by his mother as a baby after being born with pneumonia, and he was found in the wilderness with 7 broken ribs. This kind couple took him in so that he could recover before he was handed off to the Zoological Wildlife Organization. The chimpanzee will never forget their kindness and will always be overjoyed whenever he sees them, as shown in this video. Number 6. Jupiter the lion. Jupiter was saved from the circus by Ana Julia Torres, where he was born to an abused mother. He lived with his new owner in the sanctuary, which was run by Torres. However, in April 2019, environmental authorities confiscated Jupiter over a lack of required documentation and accusations that Torres was mistreating hundreds of wild animals, most of which arrived at her sanctuary showing signs of previous mistreatment. On getting to the zoo, he refused to eat, leading to a great loss of weight for him. The only way they could rescue him is by providing his mother, Torres. Torres had already claimed that she had felt a mother's instinct that her progeny needed her help. There's a connection between a mother and a child. Just watch how happy the lion is at their reunion. Number 7. Dora the dog. In 2012, Dora, scared by fireworks, jumped the fence in her backyard. Her family was distraught and looked everywhere for her, leaving no stone unturned. After searching for weeks, the possibility of finding Dora was fading, but they never gave up. 7 months later, Dora was found by CCSA thanks to her microchip. Watch the beautiful moment Dora is reunited with her owner. Number 8. Wolves. Wolves have built a reputation as bloodthirsty beasts. However, the behavior of the wolves in this video is shaking that claim. A woman named Anita spent a long time socializing with a pack of wolves, and when she went to visit them after 2 months apart, the pack was incredibly happy to see her. Number 9. Wolves. Another pair of people claiming that wolves being evil is just a myth is this couple, Jim and Jamie Dutcher. The couple lived among a single pack in Idaho for 6 years and earned their trust. They then left the pack and came back after 1 year to check whether they were still remembered by the wolves or not. Interestingly, their unusual friendship remained unaltered. Number 10. Gorilla. Another enthralling moment in which owner and animal reunited was the reunion of the British conservationist and casino tycoon Damien Aspinall III and the gorilla he raised from a baby. Aspinall has raised Queeby in England since he was a baby. When Queeby was 5, the gorilla was released back into the wild. 5 years later, Aspinall wanted to see his friend again. Although he wasn't sure he'd remember him, he went to look for him, and what happened is sure to touch your heart. The gorilla remembered him, and they had a lovey-dovey moment together. Number 11. Cheesy the bird. Cheesy had been flying for 4 days after staying far away from its owner's vicinity in Cornwall when he landed on a boy's shoulder in Newburgh, New York. The cockatiel had lost over a third of its body weight and probably would have died the next day if not for the kind family. The family noticed that the collaring didn't seem normal for a wild bird and guessed that it was an escapee, which is true. The picture of the bird was posted on Facebook, and luckily, the owners were found in Cornwall. The owners had a tearful reunion with their pet cockatiel. Number 12. Casey the dog. According to the rule of paw, 1 dog year is tantamount to 7 years. So when the owners of this schnauzer returned from Slovenia after 14 dog years, she was so excited that she kept passing out from being overwhelmed with joy. The schnauzer named Casey can be seen running into Mrs. Alt's arms while making a shrill whimpering sound. After a few seconds, it all gets a bit much for the dog, and she collapses on her side. Following a good tummy rub, she struggles to her feet on some very wobbly back legs. Number 13. Christian the lion. The story of the lion named Christian by its owners is a very amazing one. Christian was bought by John Randall and Ace Burke at Harrods in 1969. Then, it wasn't illegal to buy wild animals. John said he and Ace wanted to help Christian the moment they laid eyes on him. They wanted to secure a future for him. On buying Christian, they made a home for him in the basement of their building. The pair, together with Christian, had the happiest and grandest part of their lives together. However, Christian started growing too quickly, and keeping him in London proved difficult. So he was taken back to the wild in North Kenya by a conservationist. And in 1971, 1 year after the separation, the boys went to Kenya to visit Christian, even though they had been dissuaded by the conservationist on the basis that he had forgotten them. When they finally came face to face, Christian first started approaching them slowly and cautiously, then suddenly broke into a run upon recognizing them. Christian gleefully pounced on Ace and John, hugging them repeatedly, standing on his hind legs, paws wrapped around their necks. Such a wonderful miracle. Christian looked more like a puppy than a big wild cat. Just like Ace and John, he was overwhelmed too. That scene is an unforgettable one. And that's all for today. Do you have a special friendship with an animal? If so, we would love to know all about it in the comments section. Thanks for watching this video. Remember to subscribe to this channel for more amazing content. Ciao!